The day started like any other at Midtown National Bank, until Donald Trump walked through the doors. The staff at the front desk exchanged glances as soon as they saw him. Dressed in a sharp suit and surrounded by his security team, Trump didn't wait for anyone to greet him. He walked straight to the teller window, his eyes fixed on the manager's office. Without ceremony, Trump placed a high-value transaction request across the counter. It wasn't just any transaction. It was a massive transfer linked to one of his real estate developments. The young teller behind the counter gulped, quickly glancing at the numbers. "I'm sorry, Mr. Trump," she said cautiously, "but this exceeds our in-branch approval limit. We'd have to escalate this request." Trump raised an eyebrow, but before he could speak, the branch manager appeared. Eric Malone, a man in his early 40s, had a reputation for running a tight ship. He approached with a polite but firm smile. "Mr. Trump, I understand you're trying to push a transaction today, but unfortunately, based on our internal policies, I can't approve this at the branch level. You'd need to go through corporate review." The room fell silent. Customers looked up from their chairs. Staff members froze in place. Donald Trump leaned slightly over the counter, voice steady but sharp. "Eric, let me make something very clear. This isn't just a transaction. This is a signal. And you're about to make the wrong call." Eric didn't flinch. "Our policies apply to everyone, Mr. Trump, no matter how famous or powerful." For a brief second, Trump stared him down, then gave a half smile. Without another word, he turned around and walked out, his team following close behind. The staff inside the bank began whispering. Some looked relieved. Others looked worried. They had just denied one of the most influential figures in the business world. They thought the storm was over. They were wrong. By the end of the day, news spread like wildfire across the banking industry. Donald Trump had just signed an agreement to buy the entire building housing Midtown National Bank. Not lease it, not invest in it, own it. The shocking twist came when the building's owners, eager to offload the aging high-rise for a premium price, closed the deal faster than anyone expected. Within 48 hours, Trump's ownership was official. Inside the bank, panic spread. The staff realized they weren't just employees anymore. They were tenants, and their new landlord was the man they had publicly rejected. The atmosphere the next morning was tense. Eric Malone called an emergency meeting. Staff huddled in the back office, wondering what Trump would do next. Would he walk in and fire everyone? Would he shut down the branch altogether? That's when it happened. Without waiting for legal meetings or polite introductions, Trump's executive team sent out a notice. Every lease in the building was under review, including the bank's long-standing lease. The staff's jaws dropped. It wasn't just about revenge. Trump was making a power move that would reshape who controlled the space and who had the last word. Eric tried to calm everyone down, insisting they would negotiate. But the staff wasn't convinced. Over the next few days, tension inside the bank exploded. Employees whispered about leaving. They feared retaliation, demotions, or worse, public humiliation. Word leaked to the media. Headlines blared, "Bank that rejected Trump faces sudden shakeup after he buys their building." Power play, Trump's latest real estate move sends bank into crisis. Some staff called it bullying, others called it genius. But no matter where they stood, everyone agreed on one thing. Trump had flipped the entire script. By the end of the week, resignations began to roll in. First, it was a junior teller, terrified that staying would ruin her career. Then, a senior loan officer convinced that Trump's presence would attract too much media heat. Finally, to everyone's shock, Eric Malone himself handed in his resignation. It was a stunning collapse. What had started as a simple transaction denial turned into a full-blown takedown of an entire branch's leadership. But here's the kicker. Trump hadn't even publicly commented. He hadn't needed to. His actions had done all the talking. The city watched in amazement. Would Trump turn the building into a new headquarters? Would he replace the bank with one of his branded projects? Nobody knew. What they did know was this. In a single, calculated move, Trump had turned a rejection into total control. And the fallout was just beginning. The news hit Wall Street like a thunderclap. Donald Trump, after being rejected for a routine transaction at Midtown National Bank, had not only bought the entire building, but now had the staff resigning en masse out of sheer panic. The media was everywhere. Reporters camped outside the glass entrance of the tower, snapping photos of bankers leaving with boxes of their belongings. Eric Malone, the once proud branch manager, was spotted slipping out a side door, face pale, refusing to comment to the cameras. Inside, the remaining staff scrambled to make sense of the chaos. Would the bank even survive in this space? Would Trump raise the lease, force them out, convert the tower into yet another Trump-branded luxury hotel? What no one realized, not the media, not the financial analysts, not even the employees themselves, was that Trump had an entirely different plan. Behind the scenes, his real estate team was already working on a massive development strategy. Trump wasn't interested in crushing the bank for revenge. He was playing a much bigger game. A secret memo, leaked to the press just 2 days later, revealed the shocking truth. Trump intended to buy out the entire block around the bank. His goal wasn't just to own the building. He wanted to turn the entire neighborhood into a signature Trump business district. And the bank? That was just the first domino. By the end of the week, Trump announced a public statement. Standing confidently at a press conference on the steps of the building, surrounded by cameras and reporters, he smiled faintly and delivered the line that would go viral worldwide. "When you tell me no, I don't walk away," Trump said, adjusting his tie. "I buy the room you're standing in." The crowd erupted. Supporters cheered. Critics groaned. But no one, absolutely no one, could deny the sheer audacity of what had just happened. Within days, news outlets ran with the headlines, "Trump's boldest power play, yet bank rejection turns into full-scale takeover." Trump's property empire expands after stunning bank drama. Inside the bank, only a skeleton crew remained. The new leadership, hastily brought in by the national banking chain, scrambled to stabilize the branch. But the morale was shattered. Employees whispered about when, not if, the entire branch would be shut down or relocated. Meanwhile, real estate agents buzzed with excitement. Property values on the block surged. Everyone knew that where Trump moved, media attention, investment, and tourism followed. Local businesses began positioning themselves for partnerships, hoping to ride the wave of publicity. But the real shock came when Trump revealed the final twist. In a stunning follow-up announcement, Trump confirmed that he had never actually wanted the bank's transaction to go through in the first place. "It was a test," he told a primetime interviewer, grinning. "I wanted to see how they'd treat me, how they'd treat any big player walking through their doors. Let's just say they failed spectacularly and gave me the perfect reason to make a move I was planning anyway." The public went wild. Some called him a genius. Others called him a master manipulator. The staff, already shaken, now realized the full scope of what had happened. They hadn't just lost control of a transaction. They'd become part of a national headline and the poster children for why you never underestimate someone like Trump. As the days turned into weeks, the ripple effects spread far beyond Midtown National Bank. Other businesses along the block began negotiating directly with Trump's team. Some embraced the change, eager to join his vision. Others sold their stakes and left quietly, unwilling to play ball. But for Trump, it was just another day in the game. When asked by a reporter if he felt any satisfaction in knowing that the staff had resigned out of fear, Trump gave a small shrug. "I don't waste time worrying about people who walk away," he said smoothly. "I focus on the people who are ready to build." And that, perhaps, was the ultimate message. This wasn't just a petty victory. This was a carefully calculated business play, a power move designed to shift the landscape of an entire city block. The rejection at the teller's window had simply been the spark. The real fire was always going to be bigger, hotter, and impossible to contain. In the end, the bank lost more than employees. It lost its place at the center of the block, and Donald Trump, he gained exactly what he wanted: control, influence, and the next big stage for his ever-expanding empire. Because when you tell Donald Trump no, you don't just risk losing a deal, you risk losing everything.